Namaskar. I apologize that we had a little confusion at the end of last week's class, and I failed to give explanation of some difficult words in the passage from line 212 to 225. So we can just have a look at that first. Here we are seeing the hierarchy of mind worlds, and the poet has started from the bottom with a flight of stairs. Now there's a series of flights of stairs. So in this canto, we will meet three kinds of workers with the mind. And the first ones, it starts on line 212. He refers to them as world times enjoyers, favorites of world bliss, the masters of things actual, lords of the hours, playmates of youthful nature and child God, creators of matter by hid stress of mind, whose subtle thoughts support unconscious life and guide the fantasy of brute events, stood there, a race of young, keen-visioned gods, king children born on wisdom's early plane, taught in her school world-making's mystic play, arch-masons of the eternal thaumaturge, moulders and measurers of fragmented space. They have made their plan of the concealed and known, a dwelling house for the invisible king. So as the poet says, these are the beings who are the masters of things actual. Mother calls them formateurs or form makers. But these first ones are playful, playmates of youthful nature and child God. And what they do is they create what we know as matter. And they do it with a hidden stress of mind. They use it by exercising their mind power. Their subtle thoughts support unconscious life, the life of matter. And they guide the fantasy of brute events, of things that just happen. The poet refers to them as a race of young, keen-visioned gods. They can see things very clearly. And he stresses their youthfulness. They are king children, born on wisdom's early plane, the beginning of the plane of wisdom. They've been trained, they've been taught by wisdom. They've been taught in her school how to make worlds. We read last time about the thought-created worlds. So that's the kind of work that they are doing. And he refers to them as archmasons. They're the chief masons, the one who give orders. Archmasons, but they are serving the eternal thaumaturge. This is an unusual word. I think it comes from Greek, but it means a miracle worker. And it's one of the words which Sri Aurobindo uses in several places in the poem for the Lord, for the Supreme Lord, the one, the Creator. So these young, keen-visioned gods are molders and measurers of fragmented space, as if space is broken up into many small pieces, and they have to bring them together to make material forms. They've made their plan. They have planned ahead something hidden as well as things known to make a dwelling house for the invisible King, the Lord himself. They've created this material universe for him to dwell in. So I hope that makes up for last week's lapse. Today we will read and look at, explore lines 296 to 398. But just before we start, I want to encourage all those who are participating in these classes to send us your questions by email. And to help you, the email address will appear in the comments column and in the description column. You'll be able to see that. I'm sorry if there are people here who don't have computers at home and can't avail of that possibility, but then you can write your questions for us and we'll do our best to give you answers. So now I'm going to start reading on page 268 at line 296. We've heard about these world times enjoyers. Now the poet will describe the next higher level of these formateurs. On page 268, just above the middle. Above stood ranked a subtle archangel race with larger lids and looks that searched the unseen. A light of liberating knowledge shone across the gulfs of silence in their eyes. They lived in the mind, and new truth from within. A sight withdrawn in the concentrated heart could pierce behind the screen of time's results and the rigid cast and shape of visible things. All that escaped conception's narrow noose, vision descried and gripped. Their seeing thoughts filled in the blanks left by the seeking sense. High architects of possibility and engineers of the impossible, mathematicians of the infinitudes, and theoricians of unknowable truths, they formulate enigmas, postulates, and join the unknown to the apparent worlds. Acolytes, they wait upon the timeless power. The cycle of her works investigate. Passing her fence of wordless privacy, their mind could penetrate her occult mind and draw the diagram of her secret thoughts. They read the codes and ciphers she had sealed. Copies they made of all her guarded plans. For every turn of her mysterious course, assigned a reason and unchanging rule. The unseen grew visible to student eyes. Explained was the immense inconscience scheme. Audacious lines were traced upon the void. The infinite was reduced to square and cube. Arranging symbol and significance, tracing the curve of a transcendent power, they framed the Kabbalah of the cosmic law. The balancing line discovered of life's technique and structured her magic and her mystery. Imposing schemes of knowledge on the vast, they clamped to syllogisms of finite thought the free logic of an infinite consciousness. Grammared the hidden rhythms of nature's dance. Critiqued the plot of the drama of the worlds. Made figure and number a key to all that is. The psychoanalysis of cosmic self was traced, its secrets hunted down, and read the unknown pathology of the unique. Assessed was the system of the probable, the hazard of fleeing possibilities. To account for the actuals unaccountable sum, necessity's logarithmic tables drawn, cast into a scheme, the triple act of the One. Unveiled, the abrupt, invisible multitude of forces whirling from the hands of chance seemed to obey some vast imperative. Their tangled motives worked out unity. A wisdom read their mind, to themselves unknown. Their anarchy rammed into a formula, and from their giant randomness of force, following the habit of their million paths, distinguished each faintest line and stroke of a concealed, unalterable design. A single and infallible look comes down. No, sorry, I've missed a page. Out of the chaos of the invisible's moods derived the calculus of destiny. In its bright pride of universal law, mind's knowledge overtopped the omniscient's power. The Eternal's winged eagle puissances, surprised in their untracked empyrean, stooped from their gyres to obey the beck of thought. Each mysteried God, forced to revealing form, assigned his settled moves in nature's game, zigzagged at the gesture of a chess player will across the checkerboard of cosmic fate. In the wide sequence of necessity's steps predicted, every act and thought of God, its values weighed by the accountant mind, checked in his mathematized omnipotence, lost its divine aspect of miracle and was a figure in a cosmic sum. The mighty mother's whims and lightning moods, arisen from her all-wise unruled delight in the freedom of her sweet and passionate breast, robbed of their wonder, were chained to a cause and aim. An idol of bronze replaced her mystic shape that captures the movements of the cosmic vasts. In the sketch precise of an ideal face, forgotten was her eyelashes' dream print, carrying on their curve infinity's dreams. Lost the alluring marvel of her eyes. The surging wave throbs of her vast sea heart, they bound to a theorem of ordered beats. Her deep designs which from herself she had veiled, bowed, self-revealed in their confessional. For the birth and death of the worlds they fixed a date. The diameter of infinity was drawn, measured the distant arc of the unseen heights, and visualized the plumbless, viewless depths, till all seemed known that in all time could be. All was coerced by number, name, and form. Nothing was left untold, incalculable. Yet was their wisdom circled with a naught. Truths they could find and hold, but not the one truth. The highest was to them unknowable. By knowing too much, they missed the whole to be known. The fathomless heart of the world was left unguessed, and the transcendent kept its secrecy. So this is the second level of these powers of mind. The poet describes them as a race of archangels. I think last week we had the word seraphim. Seraphim is an Israeli or a Hebrew word for the highest level of angels. So the archangels are like that also. This rank of formateurs. They are arranged in ranks like an army, a hierarchy. Their eyes and their power of vision is larger, the poet says, than these younger world times enjoyers. These subtle archangels, they can search with their power of vision the unseen. They have this light of liberating knowledge which shines from their eyes, and it's as if we looked into their eyes, we would see deep gulfs of silence. They live in the mind, and they know truth not by outer observation and deduction. They know truth from within. Their power of sight is deeply indrawn in the concentrated heart. But that power of sight could pierce through, it could drill holes through the screens of time's results. All the things that have been achieved may be fixed in the universe. They can look beyond that as a kind of facade They could pierce behind the screen of time's results and the rigid cast and shape of visible things. There are things that we can't conceive with our minds. These beings have the power to descry, to see, and to hold on to all those kind of things that normally can't be formulated. Their seeing thoughts filled in the blanks, the empty spaces left by the senses, the seeking sense. The poet mentions 3 different kinds of these formateurs. Architects, high architects of possibility, engineers of the impossible, mathematicians of the infinitudes, and a 4th kind, theoricians of unknowable truths. This word theoricians is a bit unusual. Perhaps in prose we might say theoreticians, people who formulate theories. These 4 different kinds of workers with mind, with thought, together, work together and have different roles. But the result of their works is to formulate, to give expression to enigmas, postulates. Enigma, all that is mysterious, riddling and strange. And postulates, these are like theories, that this might be the case or that. They join the unknown worlds to the apparent worlds, the visible worlds. They are acolytes of the timeless power. Acolytes are assistants, helpers, servers, servants. So these are servants who are assisting the timeless power. I believe this is the mother in her creative aspect of giving birth and rise to everything. They investigate the cycle of her works, and they can pass through her fence, her protective fence of wordless privacy, and penetrate, they can understand her hidden mind, and they're able to draw diagrams of her secret thoughts. They're able to read all these secret figures and writings that she's sealed away, made secret, and they make copies of all her guarded plans, protected secret plans. All that the great creative force is doing for every turn of her mysterious course. These beings, these architects and engineers and mathematicians and theoricians, they give for every single turn of her work a reason and an unchanging rule. It's as if they fix all these secret things. The unseen grew visible to student eyes. If there are those who can study what is being done, they can look into the unseen and they find that all the immense scheme of the inconscient is explained. The immense inconscient scheme. Daring lines, audacious lines, they trace on the void, on the emptiness. And they cut up the infinite, the vast transcendent. They cut it up into squares and cubes, arranging the symbols and significances. They trace the curve of her work or of a transcendent power, and they framed the Kabbalah of the cosmic law. This word Kabbalah, I think it's again a Hebrew word. The Kabbalah is a way of interpreting and reading the significance of the sacred words, the sacred texts and scripts. So what they are doing is they are making an interpretation like that, an explanation or a way of reading the laws of the universe, the cosmic law. They discover the balancing line of life's technique. What is life doing, and how does she do all her miracles? How is that balanced? How is it maintained? And they give structure to her magic and her mystery. They impose schemes of knowledge on all the vastness of the universe. They clamped to syllogisms of finite thought, the free logic of an infinite consciousness. Syllogisms are formulas or ways of expressing formulas. So they're all that infinite variety and possibility, they are clamping it, they're taking it and fixing it into these formulas of finite, of limited thought, all this free logic of an infinite consciousness. Grammared the hidden rhythms of nature's dance. Grammared, this is one of Sri Aurobindo's words that he has made up, that he has coined. Grammar is about the structure of language, or particularly the way of written language, of formulating written language. So they are doing something like that with nature's dance, that great creative dance where she expresses herself in so many different ways. They are limiting it to certain fixed rules of self-expression. They critique the plot of the drama of the worlds. They look at it and they say, is this okay? Shall we change it to that? No. They are mathematicians and theoricians. So they make figure, forms, and numbers into a key to all that is, a way of understanding everything that exists. They also go in for psychoanalysis, analysis of the psychology of the cosmic self, of the one, of the unique. They trace that. How does that work? They hunt down its secrets, and they read the unknown pathology of the unique, all the things that are wrong with it, the diseases, the illnesses. Assessed was the system of the probable. Probability is a very important element in all this. And this hazard of fleeing possibilities. Hazard has to do with chance and risk. They are assessing this system of what is probable, what might happen, what would be the effect. And they do all this to account for the unaccountable sum, the sum total of what is actual, of what actually exists. He speaks about the logarithmic tables of necessity. If you have studied mathematics at school, you will probably know better than me exactly what logarithms are. I think it's a way of multiplying by adding things. This is being done as a contrast to this play of chance. There's the work of necessity, of fixing things the way they have to be. So this is the kind of work that is being done here. They have cast into a scheme the triple act of the one, the three-sided or three-aspected self-expression of the one. We can think of here of the three aspects of the supreme, of the ultimate, pure existence, pure consciousness, pure bliss. Even this they are able to formularize and limit. They unveil the abrupt, the sudden, invisible multitude of forces which suddenly seem to whirl out of the hands of chance, all kinds of unpredictable things. But when these beings take hold of them, they seem to obey some vast imperative, a way that these things have to work. Their tangled motives, all the tangled motives of these forces whirling from the hands of chance, they obey the force of necessity and work out a unity. A wisdom read their mind, a wisdom that's unknown to themselves. And that wisdom rams all the anarchy of all those forces, those uncontrolled forces get rammed, forcibly crammed together into a formula. And from their giant randomness of force, following the habit of their million paths. These beings distinguish each faintest line and stroke. They are able to follow that and see all the details of a concealed, unalterable design. From the chaos of the invisible's moods, they derived the calculus of destiny. Calculus, again, it's a very useful branch of mathematics. And here it is for these minute calculations of destiny, of fate, of what has to happen. In its bright pride of universal law, mind's knowledge overtopped the omniscient power. These beings seem to be very sure of themselves. Universal law is learning. They are so proud of all this power of knowledge that they have. And the knowledge of the mind seems to go even beyond the power of the all-knowing. The winged eagle puissances, the powers of the eternal, get surprised by these beings, these formators. There are those eagle puissances, eagle-winged powers of the eternal, get surprised in their untracked empyrean. Empyrean is the highest heaven. Nobody has ever tracked them there. But there they get surprised and they stooped from their gyres to obey the beck of thought. Stoop, we've come across this word quite often in the poem to describe the downward swoop of a great bird. Birds of prey stoop to catch their prey. Here, so those eagle puissances, these great wide-winged powers are circling gyres. They are circling in their gyres in the highest skies, and they come down, they stoop down to obey the beck of thought. It's like people who keep pigeons. I don't know whether you've ever seen this on the rooftops. The boys keep flocks of pigeons, and then they let them out to fly freely, and then they call to them and signal to them, beckoning to them, and they try to do it in a very cunning way so that they can get some pigeons from the neighbor's flock to join theirs. The beck, when you beckon to somebody. So they are beckoning, obeying the beck of thought, those powers of the eternal. Each mysteried God they forced to take on a revealing form, and gave each one of them his settled moves in nature's game. Zigzagged at the gesture of a chess player will across the checkerboard of cosmic fate. So it's as if each of these powers is given, just like in a game of chess, each kind of chess piece has its own way of moving. Some can move this way or that way, and others can jump over, and they have different kinds of move. So each of them Each of these mysteried gods is given, assigned his settled moves in nature's game. And then, just like people playing chess, they move their chess pieces, some of them in a zigzag movement, crossing the board at the gesture of a chess player will. So we don't see hands moving them, the will moves the pieces across the board, across the checkerboard of cosmic fate. So in the wide sequence of necessities, steps predicted, every act and thought of God, its values weighed by the accountant mind, checked in his mathematized omnipotence, lost its divine aspect of miracle, and was a figure in a cosmic sum. It seems as if what they are doing is taking the mystery out of everything, giving everything its settled place and form and possibilities. The mighty mother's whims and lightning moods, all her unpredictability, arisen from her all-wise, unruled delight in the freedom of her sweet and passionate breast, robbed of their wonder, were chained to a cause and aim. Even the mighty mother's whims, they standardized them. An idol of bronze, a fixed, bronze is very long-lasting material, no? An idol of bronze replaced her mystic shape that captures the movements of the cosmic vasts. In the sketch precise of an ideal face, forgotten was her eyelashes' dream print, carrying on their curve infinity's dreams, lost the alluring marvel of her eyes. So a lot is lost in this fixing process. All the mystery of the mighty mother. The surging wave throbs of her vast sea heart, they bound to a theorem of ordered beats. It has to be just like this. Her deep designs, her intentions, which from herself she had veiled, she'd kept them secret even from herself, now they reveal themselves, bowed, self-revealed in their confessional. They give up all their inner secrets. The inner secrets of the mother's deep designs. For the birth and death of the worlds, they fixed a date. The diameter of infinity was drawn, measured the distant arc of the unseen heights, and visualized the plumbless, viewless depths, till all seemed known that in all time could be. Plumbless, perhaps this is the only place this word appears in the poem, but it's like the similar word fathomless, when we can't get to the bottom of something. So they do all this measuring and fixing and theorizing and organizing till all seemed known that in all time could be. everything was coerced, forced by number, name, form. Nothing was left untold, incalculable. They've organized everything. Yet, was their wisdom circled with a naught? Truths they could find and hold, but not the one truth. The highest was to them unknowable. By knowing too much, they missed the whole to be known, the whole that needs to be known for anything to be known. The fathomless heart of the world was left unguessed, undiscovered, and the transcendent, the supreme, kept its secrecy. So this is the second rank of these formateurs. Architects, engineers, mathematicians, and theoreticians. Different ways of using the mind to organize and predict and postulate things. So there is a third kind, which we'll have a look at next time. Thanks to Sri Aurobindo.